Good day, beautiful summer's day. We're in the middle of July, and new client bought me 2 guitars in to have a look at and work on. Already talked to him about his guitars. We've gone through what needs doing on the guitars. We've priced them up, blah 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 blah, and we know what we're going to do. So first, I'm going to show you the first guitar he's bought me, and I like these guitars. I've always liked the look of these guitars, and it's a electroacoustic, and it's a Lag, a company from France. They do their own custom guitars. They pretty much, I'll get back to that in a minute. This, I imagine, is one of their, it's made in China model, so it's one of the Asian models. It's a grand auditorium or auditorium shape. I thought it was smaller with Dreadnought. It is that auditorium type of bear. Lovely cedar top, absolutely beautiful rosewood laminated sides and back. I'd say a mahogany neck and a rosewood fingerboard. The tuners, what makes this stand out, this guitar? Look at these beautiful tuners. Attention to detail, absolutely fantastic. Nice big fat nut on there. It's going to need attention. I've already talked about it. I'll explain that in a minute. Well fretted, no dots on the frets, just dots on the top of the fingerboard there on the side. Absolutely beautiful looking guitar. So what's wrong with this? Well, action's too high, and it's got some dead notes here and there on the strings, particularly the E string. It's giving you that little sitar type sound. Now, how we get that sitar type sound is normally a problem with the nut, and with this it is a problem with the nut, because you see the part of the string touching this nut is just this front edge here. These groove slots need carving backwards into, so the string comes across, it hits the nut, then it goes down on the nut like that, then it goes down even more toward the tuning peg, and they're not cut right, so it needs a nut recutting. So I'm going to recut the nut. Then the action you want is it's a little bit high. Well, we can sort that out, I think, by putting a little bit of relief in the neck there. But what I'm going to do is, if it is too high, I think it's too high, I'm going to remove the saddle and I'm going to shave just a little bit from underneath that saddle. So that's going to have a basic setup, and we're going to get the action sorted out. I've checked the frets for level. There's 1 or 2 need a little bit of a skim across the top, so I'm going to do that. And nice easy one. Lovely looking guitar. Sounds nice. It's not as nice as my Furch made Stanford, of course, but it looks absolutely beautiful. Similar kind of construction, cedar top, laminated rosewood back and sides. Beautiful guitar. I would not be embarrassed to own one of these myself. And I'll tell you what I like about Lag. Now, my favourite guitars, especially electrics, have always been Hamer guitars. Ever since I discovered Hamer guitars in 1984 at Folds, when it was in Nottingham, I fell in love with Hamer guitars, and I used to go down there and they used to let me play them when I couldn't even play that way. They used to let me go and play the guitars and try them out. This was before I started with Bad Concrete Socks and everything. Brilliant. And the thing I like about Hamer is they're basically a boutique guitar builder at factory prices. And they were building better guitars than Gibson. They were copying Gibson designs, V's, Explorers, which was a standard, and Les Paul types and all that. They were making them better, and they were like a third the price. And Lag, pretty much the same kind of company, doing the same kind of thing. They're building absolutely fantastic guitars. I'd imagine they looked at the Martins and the Taylors and they thought, we can make as good as that, but we're going to build them and make them cheaper. And the design, some of the designs in there, absolutely beautiful. Look at the headstock and the tuners and everything. So Lag to me are basically a modern, I'd say a modern type Hamer from France. Similar type of affair. So I really like that about them. So that's that. Could be a nice easy one to work on, this one. So I'm going to put this one aside and I'm going to move on to the next one, because he's bought 2. And the next one is, and I can't remember what model he said it was, but it's a oh, I know what it is, Telecaster. It's not Fender, but it is a Vintage. Now I like these vintage guitars. Vintage are a company name building out of we're based in England. I imagine these are built in Asia, but Vintage are owned and run by John Hornby-Skew's JHS, a company who have been around in the music scene for years and years and years. I don't remember how long, but I remember years ago I used to buy JHS strings, and we used to do guitar effects pedals and stuff, and they build guitars among many other things. I've owned some vintage guitars. I had a vintage, what was it, a VW, I can't remember, a V100 Les Paul. It was amazing. I upgraded it with new pickups and stuff, and it was absolutely fantastic. And this, again, based, I imagine, on a 52 Tele, looks brilliant. Now I've already scooted across the frets with this, and we're about 5, well, I think we're 6 frets need leveling. So this is going to have the full bit set up. Basically strip down and rebuild from the bottom up. So that's it, we're going to go full Monty on that. Beautiful looking guitar. Neck's a little bit straight. I'm going to unstraighten that neck, put a little bit of relief in there because it's a little bit straight for me. Action's really, really low for a Telecaster, which for the owner is amazing. Slight little bit of a ringing and a buzz on that, and that's because there's no relief in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of relief in there, and I'm going to check the action. I'm going to check the radius of the saddles. We're going to re-radius all that. We're going to set the intonation, give it a 4-bit, check the knot. The knot looks absolutely fine. Tighten the tuners. We're going to remove the neck, put the neck back on, just set it straight, make sure it's all alright. I'm going to have a look at the electric. So that's it. And so pretty straightforward again. It's going to get the intensive setup though, this one, because it needs fretwork. So with the fretwork, we're also going to give it a fret polish, and we're going to mineral oil the fingerboard. So like I say, 4-bit on that, pretty straightforward. A new client again from Derby, testament to my work. They've been prepared to travel from Derby to bring the guitars to me because of what we've heard about me. Fantastic. I've got clients all up and down the country, all over the place. And they don't just come here once, they come back, you know, and they're driving 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 miles, some on them. You know, it's testament to what I'm all about. And I'm all about, right, well, satisfaction guarantee, but I'm all about fair pricing and a good job, no skimping. I don't skimp on the work I do. You know me, the most important part of a guitar for me is the neck, and that includes the frets. And if that's not right, your guitar's never going to be right. So biggest thing for me is to get your neck right. If your truss rod works, your neck's straight, anything else can be sorted out. We can level your frets and blah 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 blah. So my attention, my main focus of attention is fingerboards, frets and necks. We'll get that right and then anything else can be got right. So that's it, absolutely fantastic. And I'm building up a great reputation. I appreciate your custom. I love it when I get new clients because I know for a fact, right, they are going to come back to me once they've had some work off me. It's testament to I know how good I am and how good I am at what I do. So that's it. So I'm going to give this best treatment as always. New client, 2 guitars. Rather than waffle about and talk about how brilliant I am, which I could do all day, I'm going to crack on with some work. I'm going to get them done, and that will be that. I'll come back and I'll give you updates later. Right, so here we are with Steve's Lag acoustic guitar. I've just levelled the neck. Well, I've altered the truss rod to make the neck dead straight, and there are more frets on here need levelling than I actually realised. But I did say that to Steve, when we get it, we'll get it all set straight and we'll have a go on it. So we're going to go across with a fret rocker, 3 frets at a time. If we get a rock or a knock, we know the one in the middle, the centre one, is high. So here we go. Fine, fine. Rocking, there's 1, 2, fine, rocking, that's 3, fine, 4, 5, high one, this one, 6, so we've got 7 high frets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fret level on these, but I'm not going to do a fret level on my jig, and don't need to because it's an acoustic and they're not that high. There's a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to do this just with the neck straight, and we're just going to do it with a flat file and then a crowning file. It's going to be a lot quicker than setting it up on the jig, and because they've only got a slight, there's only a slight wobble on most of them. 2 really high ones being the second to the M1 and the 12th. Where the body, always where the body joins, the neck joins the body, you always seem to get that one a bit high. So 7 frets to dress. So rather than have a basic setup on this, we're going to move up to an intermediate setup. It's a few extra quid on top, but it's because of the time consuming nature of the fret levelling, you know, and you're paying for the skill. So just a few quid extra, he's not going to worry too much about that. So I'm going to do that, I'm going to get the strings off, make sure the neck's perfectly straight. It is straight as it is, but when I remove the strings, obviously the tension of the strings is going to go and the neck's going to bend. Then it's going to bend the opposite way because you haven't got that string tension, so it's going to bow slightly. So we'll alter the truss rod, get it all straight, get the frets levelled. Once they're all levelled and polished, we're going to get the guitar all put back together, get the strings back on it. Also included with this, obviously, because I'm doing the levelling the frets, we're going to need a polish also. And we're going to oil the fingerboard. So again, time consuming, but not major, but the thing is, the less I talk about it, the more chance I've got of getting the work done. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now, and I'll come back with an update once the work's done. Right, hello again. Quick update on the Lag auditorium guitar. The model number is T300 AE, so it's a Lag Tramontane. There you go. Just want to show, I've leveled 6 frets. I'm going to show, you'll see the filings on the frets here, look. And that one's had a lot of material removed. This one's had quite a lot of material removed. This was really high. And I'll just go across the fingerboard and you'll see. All I've done is leveled them at the moment. I've not recrowned them. I'm going to get on and recrown them now. I just wanted to show that we've done that. I like to show stuff on video. A couple of file lines in the wood there. We're not bothered that. We've not cut into it. We've just put a little file line in there. We'll polish that out when we oil the fingerboard. So, going to crack on with that. Obviously, I've got the body taped up in case we ding anything with a file. We don't want to mark anything. We always do that just a matter of course. Absolutely brilliant. So, lovely guitar. I've decided with this, after measuring the action above the 12th fret, we're 2¼ millimeters above the 12th fret. I don't think the action needs changing on that. And look how low the saddle is anyway. It's a really, really low saddle. I'm not going to remove anything off that saddle. I've texted Steve and told him I'm not going to lower the action because it's absolutely within parameters. 1.75 on the IE, 2.25 on the low E. We don't need it changing. So I'm going to brush off this dust. I'm going to go now. I'm going to recrown these frets. Once I've done that, I'm going to oil the fingerboard and I'm going to polish the frets and get the strings back on, cut the nut, Bob's your uncle. That will be it. I'm doing Steve's 2 guitars in this one video. So once I've done this Tramontane guitar, I'm going to go to work on the Telecaster. So I may as well roll it all into one, and we'll when we get to the epilogue, the final part, we will show both guitars together. So I'm going to crack on with this, back with an update later. Lag Tramontane, what is it? That's it, the auditorium guitar. Just showing, I've oiled the fingerboard, still drying on there. I'm going to let it dry off and we're going to polish it off, buff it off in about 10 minutes once it's soaked in. That'll clean it up and nourish the wood. It's just mineral oil, which is basically, we call it lemon oil in the business. It's mineral oil specially formulated for rosewood and for ebony fingerboards. It's got a drop of lemon scent in there just to make it smell nice. I've levelled, crowned and polished the frets. Not a lot of work on an acoustic, that's why I don't charge as much for an acoustic guitar. I've also oiled up the bridge just to make it look nice. Like as mentioned before, I'm not lowering the saddle. That saddle is low enough. Don't go any lower than that. The action's absolutely fine. It's with recommended parameters. Put a bit of oil on my headstock as well just to clean that up a bit and make it look really, really nice. A couple of things I've got to do now. Once that's dry, I've got to buff it off, get the strings back on. I'll tighten up the tuners on that side, and we'll set the relief in the neck, and we'll just get it string stretched, get it set up and get it then I've got to go and look at the nut, which I'm going to recarve the slots in the nut. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on with it. Next update will be probably when I get to the nut area, when I've got strings back on. I'll show you how we're going to fix that ringing on the nut to get rid of that guitar, not guitar, that sitar type sound on that top E string. If I show you the nut right now, you'll see those grooves aren't cut deep, cut far enough through the nut. We're only cutting the first half of the nut. We need to be cut all the way back. We need to be angled down a little bit. By rights also, these two in the centre should be shaped pointing towards the tuners, not cut straight. I don't cut them straight, I point them toward the tuner. Just a little thing there. It just shows attention to detail. But when you get an import Asian guitar, we're not spending the time on cutting the nuts by hand, are they? They're just done on a machine. So there you go, that is that. I'll be back with another update once I've got strings on, once I'm ready to sort that nut problem out, and bring one out of the way pretty soon. So, Lag Auditorium guitar. How do you say that? Tramontane model T300 AE. Pretty decent guitar, pretty nice. All set up. Neck is straight, action above a 12th fret, 2.5 mil, which is recommended, which is perfect. All cleaned up, frets levelled, polished, level crowned and polished. I've recut the nut, so now you see the strings, 3rd and 4th strings are both the slots aiming towards the tuning pegs at the end there. Cut them a little bit deeper. We've got nano sitar ring on the top E. Also nice, well-made guitar, beautiful. But that's it, that one's done, it's set up. I'm now going to move on to a Telecaster. And I'll come back, I'll give you an update on that. Once I've got it on the bench, ascertain what needs doing. I think I explained earlier what needs doing anyway. So just to refresh my own mind, I'll have a look at it again, and we'll get strings off and get to work. Back soon. Good morning everyone. Back with the second of Steve Falx's guitars. I've done the lag, that's out of the way now. Now we're moving on to the Telecaster, the vintage Telecaster. It's a 62 reissue. Should have known that, I said 52 earlier. Well, it's got V62 on there, so it's a 62 reissue. Vintage is a John Hornby SKUs product. We know all about that, I've known that for time. Beautiful weighted guitar, absolutely fantastic. So what do we need to do on this? Well, you'll see up and down the fingerboard, here, there and in a few places, I put some red dots on certain frets, and I put a red dot on 6 frets because when I had it and I was doing the setup and testing the setup, I always do a setup check when I get a guitar in to check the intonations right, the radius is right on the bridge, saddles and everything. And if not, I write down what needs doing. Sometimes I set it up with the old strings on, then when I come to put my new strings on, if they're the same gauge, I've not got to do the intonation again. And here you go, made some notes. The notes are on this. On the intonation, the low E and the D are both flat, so I need to sort the intonation out. 6 frets need reveling, that's why 6 frets have got a red dot on them. Needs a full setup and needs new strings. Because it's having a full and complete setup, I'm going to whip the neck off, check the electrics, check the tuners, make sure they're all screwed in right. We're going to reset the neck completely, we're going to get the neck straight, we're going to level those frets. Once they've levelled, we're going to crown and polish, we're going to oil the fingerboard, we're going to check the nut. Nut slots look absolutely fine, really, really low on there, it's been cut very well. Put new strings on, stretch the strings, make sure the intonation's still right. And oh, did I mention oiling the fingerboard? We'll do that as well as polish the frets. And that's it, so it's going to get the complete works. I don't expect there to be any problems with this guitar. If there is one problem, and it's not a problem at all, it's the neck is set too straight, there's no relief in it at all, so we'll put a little bit of relief in there, and that will be it. So I'm going to crack on with the work. I know what I've got to do. I want to move on because I'm actually behind. I'm already an hour behind today. This is going to put me 2 hours behind what I wanted to be doing, but I can make that time up later by not having any lunch. And you see the size of me? I need lunch. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with the guitar. If there are any problems or any obstacles I need to overcome, I'll come back, let you know about them, and that will be that. So I'm going to crack on. I'll come back with another update sometime later. So back with this Telecaster, not a problem. I said I'd come back for no problems, but not a problem at all. But what I'm doing is I'm just showing that I've levelled the frets. Couple down this end, you'll see, because I left the filings on there where I filed them down. And quite a lot at this end, because even though we had 4 or 5 to do at this end, when you do one it's going to alter how the other 2 are in relation to it. So if you take some off there and get that level, these 2 are slightly going to be out, so we had to remove a bit more from a few more frets, but they are all level now. They're re-crowned, they just need a final, we need cleaning up, we need a final polish. Now I used a different crowning file today. I actually used my Stumac one, because I can put different heads on these, and this has got a medium head. You see how it's rounded to the shape of a fret. This one is a 2mm wide one, it's a medium. So I was able to go with that one today. The 3mm one would have been too wide and it'd have flattened the fret too much. This has put a nice curve back on the fret. So I've used that. Like I say, all we need now is we need a dusting off, which I've got a special sponge I use for dusting off here. And just a piece of sponge, old kitchen sponge, cleaned up when, you know, as you do. So all we do is clean off the fingerboard like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and polish all the frets, which is just steel wool, and I'm going to treat the neck to mineral oil, a mineral oil treatment, lemon oil as you know it. And we'll get all these little tiny scratches there, file scratches. We're not deep, well we're not even anything, but just surface scratches. They'll polish straight out once we've got some oil in there. We'll get that all sorted, get it back on the guitar, get the setup done, and that will be that. Like I say, I'm running a bit behind today, so I'm going to crack on. I'll come back later. Right, absolutely no faffing about today because I'm on a mission. So I've done this guitar, absolutely fine. I put the neck back on. I've put a little bit of relief in that neck because the low E was buzzing a bit. The action's really low. It's 1.5 above the 12th fret, which to me is low. 175 is normal, but we're only getting buzz on this low E string. So all I've done is put a bit of relief in there. So we've got a nice low action on this. There's no buzz anywhere. I've been all up and down the neck. The guitar sounds beautiful. It's got one of them baseball bat type necks on it. The nut was cut fine, so I didn't have to touch that. The main work on here has been levelling and recrowning these frets. That's why I had to pay for a full setup. But that's it. It's all done. It's a V62, vintage V62 Telecaster. Vintage being a company owned by John Hornby. Does it say where it's made in there? Can't read that, it's in gold. Anyway, what else? Read it yourself. Tell you what, you do it. Pause that, read it yourself. Job done. Vintage reissued series V62 Telecaster, along with Steve's Lag Tramontane guitar. Forget what model it is. They're both done. He bought them in yesterday. They both, did he bring them in yesterday? Was it the day before? Can't remember. Anyway, they're both ready. Lee's Les Paul that came in with this is also ready. So that's it. Ready to go. Another couple of projects out of the way. I'm running behind today, so I'm going to crack on. Oh, just show, put elixir strings on this. Steve had included them, so done with them. That'll go in the bin. Got some elixir nano 1046s on there. Job's a good one. Another project done. I've got to crack on, so I'm not going to faff about. As always, take good care of each other. Be good to each other, and I'll talk to you soon.